So I think Qwilfish has got to be the best Pokemon in the Johto Cup meta by far, really, because it is such a safe Pokemon. It has so many safe matchups. There are so many Pokemon in this meta that are really good, but are hard-walled by other stuff. I talk about it in this video here. And so having Qwilfish around is just a boon for anyone who has one built. But how do you combat an opposing Qwilfish? There are a couple of ways. Confusion users destroy a Qwilfish, but there's not really any good confusion users in this meta. I mean, Pokemon that are on their own are great, but in this meta don't really shine. The other option is electric types, and Shadow Raikou is amazing in this meta. It's number 3 on the overall rankings on PvPoke, so it's really good. For me though, Qwilfish is kind of glassy. Shadow Raikou, absolutely glassy. I feel like if you're putting both on the same team, you're starting to get a little bit too shield dependent, which can lead to a lot of trouble. I discovered further down the list Ampharos. Ampharos it has that Volt Switch. It's a little bit tankier. Thunder Punch, definitely not as good as Wild Charge. A little spammier. And the coverage move. That's probably where it gets its best tool to use against the rest of the meta, is that Focus Blast. Focus Blast can hit so many things for really nice damage that can help you to flip matchups. It is a really versatile, surprisingly versatile Pokemon, I found. Having the electric typing there also helps with, there's so many Skarmory around in this meta. There is so many Azumarill as well, and a lot of the time they're being run on the same team. Having the Ampharos in the lead and then the Qwilfish in the back means that I can let the Ampharos go down when I lose the lead, and I'm not particularly worried because Qwilfish can still take on like an Azumarill that might be in the back, or any type of flyer. Qwilfish has got a good matchup against it. It does lose to Skarmory, but it can play against the others. So I know that if my Ampharos is going to go down, then I can then I'm better served keeping shields for Qwilfish so I can shore up those matchups in the back. My third Pokemon was Hitmontop, and I mean, I feel like a lot of those Pokemon just work together really nicely. I mean, what's threatening the Hitmontop? You've got fairies and you got flyers. Ampharos and Qwilfish take out Azumarill just fine. Ampharos takes out the flyers just fine. Gramble is handled by Qwilfish just fine. So it's nice that, like, the Azumarill was my favorite there because we've got 2 counters that are doing different things but still countering it. Everything else is just a single counter, so it does rely a little more on matching up correctly. But yeah, I think those 3 work together weirdly, surprisingly well. Let's check out some battles. You've been hearing me talk for long enough. This is some examples of how this team did. So this is an example where you actually lose the lead, and that's okay. You can let Ampharos go down here because Qwilfish can then come in and win CMP against this Ariados to take that out. So they hit me with the first lunge. And we hit them with a Thunder Punch. They don't shield, but we get to that next Thunder Punch straight away. So they are now a little bit scared, and they do shield that one. We're happy to let this go down. The Qwilfish is going to come in. Doesn't matter that they got the attack boost. And we're pretty much even. Like, we're up a shield, 2 shields to 1. We've given up switch advantage. But with Qwilfish, that's not usually a particularly bad thing, losing switch advantage. So they bring in Steelix, and it takes a couple of Aqua Tails to really take this thing out. Well, 3 Aqua Tails. and we use our first shield on that one. I think we managed to get in a full Poison Sting and fire the Aqua Tail without them getting off a move. Now, this was an interesting play on my part. Here's what I think I was thinking at the time of this battle. We were in a situation, like we said before, we'd given up switch advantage. And they had two Pokemon that they could have chosen to bring in against that Qwilfish. They decided that Steelix was the best Pokemon out of their two. And if Steelix is the best Pokemon you've got against Qwilfish, whatever you've got in the back really can't be good. So what I tried to do here was build up energy on the Qwilfish, because energy on Qwilfish is scary. And then switch out to Hitmontop to try and snipe the Steelix down. Now, as you can see, they were a bit too quick with the reflexes, and so they come straight out with Shadow Gramble, which Hitmontop is just not looking forward to. But they weren't so quick that they were able to stop me from getting to a Stone Edge. This takes out that second shield on their part. Because I built up that extra energy before, I get to that Sludge Wave in one more Poison Sting. That takes them out. And because I did hit them with a couple of counters from the Hitmontop, the Steelix was low enough that a couple of Poison Stings was all it took to finish that one off too. So really happy with that, how that one went. Here's battle number 2. And this is one where we lose the lead. I mean, we lost the lead before as well. So it's good to see. The best way to see how a team performs is when it's in an unfavorable situation. So I can show you a bunch of games where we do win the lead, but you don't learn as much. You definitely learn stuff, but not as much as when we're losing the lead, because Pokemon Go PvP is so dependent on the lead. So this matchup is not actually as bad as what it seems. I would recommend, I don't think this is exactly what I did here because these were early battles, but when you come up against a Steelix lead, I would recommend throwing one Volt Switch before deciding what to do. If it's Dragon Tail, get out of there. If they're running Thunder Fang, which I've seen a few Steelix do, stay in, because you win that one. Check this out. Ampharos and Steelix. Now this is with Dragon Tail. And I'm going to take out baiting, so no Thunder Punch bait, just going straight Focus Blast. Ampharos loses that one pretty badly. It wins the no shields, which is very important to know, because if you do lose the lead with Ampharos and switch it out, if you can burn all the shields on your opponent's side before Ampharos comes back in, that opens the door up for Ampharos to really do some damage. But that's with Dragon Tail. Let's take a look at Thunder Fang. Ampharos is winning that one going straight Focus Blast. So obviously the first one is shielded. We shield the first crunch. They get through to another crunch, but that doesn't KO us. Then we get to the second Focus Blast, and that does KO. And you can see here that we're winning all the zero shield situations. We're winning the 1-1 and we're winning the 2-1. So if we do want to shield twice to there once, that is an option. I probably wouldn't recommend it. This two shield situation for them. Obviously, if they do want a double shield, that's fine, because like I think I said before, if Hitmontop and Qwilfish are there against a completely unshielded opponent, they're going to do so much work in the back. I don't mind that they use both of their shields for that one. So, unfortunately, this was Dragon Tail. So I bring in Qwilfish, and out comes the Lantern to counter me. Now I go straight for Sludge Wave, and they let that go. Go for Sludge Wave in this situation, because I think the cost of trying to bait and it not... Okay, no, actually, I'll go with this. I find when an opponent knows that they can tank the nuke move, they are so much less likely to shield. that first move. So obviously Lantern is bulky enough that it can take a Sludge Wave just fine. That means it is so much less likely to shield that Sludge Wave. So it makes it best to go for the Sludge Wave. The problem with that is that because they've tanked that Sludge Wave, they're now in almost Aqua Tail range. Aqua Tail plus Poison Sting range. So now I'm in this position where I can win back Switch Advantage. I can shield that first one. I've got 2 Aqua Tails already ready to go. They use 1 shield. They've gotten back to shield parity, and we are up a shield. And we were up a bunch of energy, is what I meant to say. They double shield here, and if I had my time again, I wouldn't shield here. I was determined to win back Switch Advantage, but I didn't need to win back Switch Advantage because, as we established, 0 shields on the opponent means the Ampharos can get to that Focus Blast and KO the Steelix. I don't think we needed Switch Advantage here. Both Pokemon could handle the Steelix. So I can basically, if I let this Quillfish go down, I can send Ampharos back in. And if, hypothetically, whatever their other Pokemon is in the back happens to be worse than Steelix against an Ampharos, or, sorry, even better than Steelix against an Ampharos, they'll send that in. I can then make the decision on whether I want to send in my Hitmontop to take on that new threat. Because if I send my Hitmontop in and they switch out into the Steelix, that Steelix is going, and they're not going to avoid the Hitmontop match up anyway. I hope that all made sense. That felt very rambly to me, but it's basically, I can keep that shield because I don't need Switch Advantage here. You only really need Switch Advantage. Switch Advantage in this situation is only really, really important if you have hard lost the lead and there is no way that your opponent, that your Pokemon is going to take on the opponent's Pokemon. So now they switch out, they bring in the Steelix, and bam, out comes Hitmontop. Party in the USA. We still haven't seen their third Pokemon yet, but their first Pokemon is absolutely going down. Out comes Noctowl, and we've still got our electric Pokemon there. So we're just going to have a fun time. This one takes a little while to happen. You know what? Raikou wouldn't have been able to tank this Shadow Ball. They try to catch a Thunder Punch, which is a great move, but I think slightly mistimed it, so I just threw another Volt Switch, KO'd that Lantern, and then I have that Thunder Punch still ready for the Noctowl. Here's battle number 3. Now, we win this one pretty easily. So they don't switch out straight away. They build up a little bit, and then they bring out Umbreon, and bam, here comes Hitmontop. Just while we... let's see. I don't actually know this. We're going to find this out together. How much does a Psychic do from Hitmontop to Umbreon? Other way around. From Umbreon to Hitmontop. Psychic will do 56% damage. That's fine. We can tank a Psychic. So in this situation, I've come across a few Psychic Umbreons in this spot before. It's got that obvious advantage of being able to take care of fighters and poisons. The big disadvantage is that you're completely walled by a Last Resort Umbreon. They built up to 5 Snarls, which is enough for a Psychic. We can tank that Psychic. As we're seeing now, 56% damage. And those Snarls aren't providing any fast move pressure as well. Therefore, don't shield this. I don't care. I don't care what the extenuating circumstances are. Don't shield this first move. Until you know. Whoops, that's... There we go. Until you know what that move is. Now we know that's Last Resort. I don't need to shield again. I can keep the shield for the next move as well. They know that matchup's over, so they're just letting that go. I shield here, which I'm not particularly sure was a great move for me because, like, I did it because I had that energy and I was so close to a close combat that I wanted to fire it off. I don't think that was right because what happens now, we fire it, they shield it, and they can now build up a fair amount of extra energy before I get to another close combat. So it would have been better in this situation where I've got such a hard wall situation here. I mean, this isn't a hard wall because throw enough weather balls and that Polito can easily overcome the Ampharos, but it's a dominant matchup for us. So I think in that situation, having more shields benefits us further. So they let that go, and now here's Jumpluff. Jumpluff is a Pokemon that this team does struggle against. Obviously, a Sludge Wave will hurt it, but you've got to get one through. Thunder Punches are all neutral. Stone Edge is pretty good against it, but it's kind of a similar thing as Sludge Wave. Like, you've got to be able to land one. It takes a little bit of time to get there, so Jumpluff is a difficult Pokemon to deal with. The other one, by the way, is Quagsire. It requires a bit of finesse handling a Quagsire. I don't know if I've got a Quagsire battle in here, actually, but I have handled quite a few Quagsire with this team. Now, Psychology won me this battle. I shielded here purely because I wanted to send them the message that I want to keep this Pokemon alive. Like I said, the Qwilfish can handle the Jumpluff if it's running Sludge Wave. Oh, sorry, if you can land a Sludge Wave. So I needed them to, just to make sure that I can land that Sludge Wave, I needed them to use that second shield. So by shielding my own Pokemon, I was hoping to convince them to use their shield to try and keep that Pokemon healthy. And it did work. Qwilfish survives an Energy Ball and an Acrobatics. Energy Ball does 53%, Acrobatics does 65%. So, we're fine here. They're not. And you get the idea. So we've got Ariados again here. So I think this plays out the same way as the last one, where, yeah, it definitely does, where we throw one Thunder Punch, we get a shield off of him, and then we let this thing go down. And then Qwilfish can come in and Aqua Tail it. So what comes in next? We've got the Lantern. And we decide to, so that's why I included this one. We played this one out a little bit differently. We didn't manage to get to that Sludge Wave before they fired the Thunderbolt that time, which was interesting. So I used the one shield, we went back to parity, and I switched it out with all that energy in hand. I think I was one away from a Sludge Wave and brought in Hitmontop. It's a bit risky. See how it played out. I'll let this go because I can tank a Thunderbolt just fine. And now I've got 2 close combats, which is very dangerous. In a situation where you can get up to two close combats on a close combatter, you're in a real good spot. And they bring out the Umbreon, which is not going to like this battle much at all. We don't quite get to the last close combat, but we've got all that energy on the Qwilfish that can finish off the Umbreon. We can afford to just build up to that Sludge Wave because we've got the shield that can stop that Thunderbolt from coming through. So that's what we can learn. That's the main takeaway from these matchups is in the zero shield situation, this team destroys. I got one more battle for you. Skarmory lead into Azumarill. And they just quit. They're not going to deal with that. No. I just got one more. One more. So Makago. This one's an interesting one because all three of these Pokemon do beat Makago. Well, Hitmontop and Qwilfish beat Makago easily. Ampharos needs to land a Focus Blast. It's not really going to survive off Thunder Punches alone. So you prefer to see a Makago in the back, but I so far have been seeing them mainly in the lead. Your experience might be different. They switched out, interestingly. So remember that Makago's there, because I watched this a bunch of times and kept forgetting the Makago was in the back, because it explains some of my decisions here. Now I can Thank You Ball. So I did just that. And I managed to take a shield from them. I almost managed to get to another Thunder Punch. That would have been amazing. Amazing. If I'd been able to either KO that Jumpler or get the second shield from him, keeping that switch advantage there. But not to be. I think I didn't quite see. I think there were some snuck Bullet Seeds there, which stopped that from being able to happen. But if I'd managed to get that extra Thunder Punch off, I would be in such a commanding position. Instead now, I'm in this situation where I tried to farm them down and I did get hit by an Energy Ball in the end. And now out comes Blossom. Now, we go straight for the Sludge Wave. Because if they want to hold on to those shields, then we want to kind of punish them for that. Right? So if they decide, yeah, I'm going to keep this shield for whatever might be in the back, then they're going to go down. They did shield, and now because our Qwilfish was so low, so low on HP, there was actually nothing else we could do with that Pokemon. So we just come straight in with Hitmontop. There is no reason to keep Qwilfish in. And don't take any chances here. Just Leaf Blade. Just shield the Leaf Blade. And this was what I kept forgetting. Yeah. So the Makago in the back, we kept building up. When I was watching this back, I was like, just throw the close combat. Get rid of it. Stop it. Like that. The Blossom's taking you out. Throw the close combat. But I remembered that Makago was there and is dangerous when I'm on this low HP. I needed to get to another close combat to make sure that thing didn't harm me. And so that's what I did. I'll rewind it again, just so you can see that happen. Actually, I'll go back to the beginning for a second, because this is important to know too. It threw some energy. It gained some energy. It was on 20 energy already, so it's only 2 Incinerates to get to a Rock Tomb, which might have KO'd the Hitmontop from there. So, actually, who wins Switch Advantage here? Who wins CMP is what I'm wondering. Here, not hot. Hitmontop versus Makago. Oh, Hitmontop's got that pretty easily. So, they were 2 Incinerates away from whatever move they wanted to throw. That's 10 turns. That's 5 counters. So I needed to get within 5 counters of that next close combat. The Razor Leafs from Bellossom were doing too much damage to me for me to just be able to counter it down. I needed 2 close combats, one for Bellossom, one for Macargo. And I'm actually amazed that I thought of this in the moment, because I keep watching this in the replay and thinking, what are you doing? And there's that second close combat, finishing off the Bellossom. I hope this helps you with your Johto Cup battles. Let me know if you want to run this team and how you go with it, whether you had as good results with it as I did, or if you had bad results with it. I'm interested in knowing that too, because we all kind of experience different things when we have our GBL matches. We have a Discord server. You might have seen it. I think it's been scrolling along beside me here. It is the Pallet PvP Discord server, where we all kind of share teams, talk to each other about our matchups, and help each other to get better. There is a Patreon there in case you want to just step up that game and improve your game just a little bit. There it is. And let us know what teams you're running. Maybe we'll do a feature on it in one of these videos. Can't promise anything. We're all busy. But I'm really interested to know. Good luck with your battles.